Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Tonight we are once again with the All-Star Racing League, the Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication Late Model Division. Couple cars short here tonight, one of those being our points leader and race winner many times this season, Brandon Elvis. Not going to make it tonight, currently on a vacation, but I know he's watching from home, so shout out to Brandon in the chat. Tough that he couldn't make it, but it gives the rest of the field a little bit more of a chance to win. So we'll see how that plays out. I would like to introduce you guys to somebody. Got a partner in the booth for the first time in a while. This is my iRacing partner and kind of teammate, Connor Osborne. So Connor, welcome to the WD Broadcasting Network. I'm sure you're excited to be here tonight.
Yes, very glad to be here. Once in a lifetime opportunity. Definitely not anybody can broadcast with the WD Broadcasting Network, but definitely great to be here.
Yeah, it should be a pretty exciting race. We're getting ready to wrap qualifying up. We've just got a little bit more time left. We'll get the results on the left side of your screen. There we go. Top 5 cars qualifying. 14-9. Brian Voss going to be your fast qualifier as of right now. You know, no real shocker to anybody. I'm sure if you're a regular here with the All-Star Racing League, you know that Brian Voss is really good in qualifying and puts the 55 machine up at the top of the board quite a bit. As right now I'm watching Justin Coleman pull out onto the racetrack. Coleman, one of the head faces here in the All-Star Racing League, putting together a pretty good season and a pretty good run here late in the season in points. I'll take a look at the points coming into tonight. So Brandon Elvis has 499 points. He is the leader. Justin Coleman, his teammate, has 456. Elvis obviously missing tonight. Might change that a little bit, swing it in a couple different directions. Coleman going to try and start his night off right by qualifying. He's going to see the checkered flag right there. Lap 2 for Coleman. Going to slow down a little bit. He's still in that 6th place spot. A little bit off of your fast qualifier, Brian Voss. Connor, I'm going to try and include you the best I can. I know I'm going to talk a lot.
No, it's all good. I'm not used to this stuff, so.
Yeah, not used to having a co-host. It's kind of nice. I don't have to take, all the pressure. I don't have to worry about, dead air. You can pick up where I leave off,
I got it. I think I'm feeling more pressure than you right now just because it's like
your first time, never really broadcasted. It's fine. It's chilling. It's going to be a fun time.
Just getting the JVDs out,
Yeah. All right, so qualifying's up. We're going to bring in Brian Voss, our fast qualifier, into the booth. I just thought about this. Hold on a second. I got to invite you to the league server. Give me a second. I got to get Connor in here, maybe. There we go. Got Connor in the Discord channel. We use a kind of voice chat. I don't know if you guys are too familiar with it. I'm sure a lot of you guys use Discord as well, but I gave Connor an invite to the Discord, so hopefully he can get in and I can grab a word from, or we can both grab a word from our fast qualifier, Brian Voss. Alrighty, there we go. Got Connor in here. We'll bring on our fast qualifier, Brian Voss. See if he's... Brian, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Alrighty, well, once again on the pole here tonight at the Oxford Plains Speedway, I'm joined with one of my buddies, Connor, helping me out in the booth tonight, by the way. But picking up the pole once again here tonight, 150 laps. What's it going to take to keep the tires underneath you?
Man, I don't know. I got on late tonight, running behind. Literally first laps, and I know it doesn't look that way, but it was kind of on the edge there, it felt like.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be free. I think it's going to have to save the right rear tire. Very line dependent, it seems the track is, so we'll just kind of see from there.
Alrighty, well, 8 cars here tonight. Track position might not be as important as other races. pit strategy could play a little bit differently, track position not mattering as much. Are you looking to pit before or after the halfway mark?
I kind of see how it's driving. I think if we're way too hard on the right front or way too hard on the right rear, we just kind of got to play some strategy that way. If it looks like it's going to be a lot of cautions on in a run, maybe bank on getting one late, pitting in. Just a lot of variables that goes into it. Just got to kind of see how the race plays out.
Alrighty. Connor, you got anything from Mr. Brian Voss before we send him green?
No, just good luck, man. Definitely going to be a tough race. 150 laps. Keep the wheels on dear.
Appreciate it, Connor. Got big shooting field, man. Helping this guy. He does a great job every week. I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Brian. Good luck to you in this 150 lap event.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. Brian Voss back into the voice chat where he belongs, getting ready to send him green. Connor, we're going to do a quick run through of the field. We'll go row by row, starting with me in row number 1. Brian Voss going to be rolling off from the top spot with Chris Smith to the outside in the 80 machine.
The 07 of, wait, shoot. Yeah, here we go. The 07 of Daniel Sweat.
There you go.
Or Sweet, don't know.
Sweat.
In third. And then the 8 car of Mark Stewart in the 4th row outside.
And back behind him is Matt Cox, Justin Coleman, and Justin Elvis. Leading us to the green, Brian Voss and Chris Smith going to bring us through turns 1 and 2. Voss going to get a nice lead out of the corner and be able to clear himself from Daniel Sweat in the 2nd spot. They're going to battle for 3rd out of 4.
Yeah, Justin Elvis seems to be holding back a little bit, trying to save those tires. It is a long race, 150 laps for these guys. Definitely not going to be tough, or definitely going to be tough.
Matt Cox in the 51 working the bottom side of the 80 of Chris Smith. He's going to have an opportunity to look to the inside of Daniel Sweat as well. The 07 kind of slipped off the bottom there. We'll see if he's able to close the door. Looks like Cox in the 51's able to work to the inside just a bit. It looks like at the line and through turns 1 and 2, Matt Cox going to take the position. Here comes Justin Coleman. Going to recover from that poor qualifying effort nicely early on as he is moving up into the 3rd spot already with Daniel Sweat to his outside as he's going backwards in a hurry in the 07.
Yeah, Mark Stewart on the run here too, coming up from, I think it was P4, P5. Starting to work on the 07 of Daniel Sweat. Daniel Sweat looking to struggle on the outside. Gonna file back in here as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, everybody starting to get into line, single file. We are at the Oxford Plains Speedway, 7 laps in at the line that time. Voss gonna go down the back straightaway here. You get a good look at him out of 2. Everybody bouncing around on my screen. I think I might be having connection issues with the iRacing server itself. Not quite sure what's going on. There we go. I think I'm back. Maybe not. We're going to go. We'll be right back here. I'm not quite sure if it's going to handle doing YouTube and Facebook at the exact same time, but we're going to be right back and try and get back to coverage as quickly as we can. Do apologize. All right, folks. I think we're back. I think we're back. I hope we're back. If I have any other kind of trouble, I'm gonna turn one of the streams off and probably stay on Facebook. But we are 17 laps in. Not too much has changed. Still the same group of cars. I'm gonna bring Connor back in. Connor, we're back on the air. We got it going. We're back in the race. Hopefully it doesn't do that again. I don't know what exactly happened, but we disconnected from the server and I had to get back in. So hopefully it does not happen again. We're coming up on 20 to go. 20 laps in. Connor, what are you thinking so far?
Very one-sided race. You know, it's just everybody's on the bottom, not really fighting for any positions. Definitely playing the tire game. It's definitely very straight line, I guess you could say.
Yeah, not a lot of passing action going on just yet. We're kind of watching a wider angle lens here so we can see everybody and make sure we don't miss anything. But everybody kind of just riding in line right now. You know, like you said, long race, not ready to play all their cards just yet. But Ryan Voss doing a good job in the 55 out front, just keeping that gap, staying out front and not using too much of those tires. He said they needed to keep an eye on the right rear tire. So, you know, obviously rear slides off the corner, maybe getting in a little bit too hot. You got to keep the tires down in the temps.
Yeah, and I would like to point out Mark Stewart. He's definitely going more of a wide entry on the backstretch, and he is sliding all 4 tires entering the corners too. So I don't know if that's just the line, but it's definitely going to kill himself in the long run.
Yeah, sliding the tires is not going to be what you want to do. Heats them up, and the way I've heard it explained to me by drivers in this league, it's not necessarily the usage on the tire and the tread going away, it's how hot you get them. It's how that tire wear kind of plays out in their minds. They got to keep the tires lower in temps so they have tire at the end of the race. It degrades quicker when it is higher temperature. So we're 25 in. Voss, your race leader. Justin Coleman in the 114's up 3 spots from the start of this one. I mentioned he had a little bit of a poor qualifying effort. I think he got into this race a little bit later and maybe didn't have enough practice time. But he looks like he's figuring it out nicely. Sitting in the 3rd spot behind Matt Cox right now. Just trying to keep the wheels underneath of it.
Yeah, another critical thing in this race is hitting that curb down there. If you really hit that curb, it'll really upset the car and push you up the track, and that's definitely not something you want to do when you're fighting for a position. And I've seen a couple guys do it, but they're holding their own down there, and like I've said multiple times, it's a long race.
Yeah, these cars are going to be, I'd say, single file like this for quite a while. I don't know what kind of fuel mileage these cars are going to get. I'm assuming they aren't going to make it all the way on fuel, but there will be a caution flag at the halfway marker in tonight's race. Forgot to mention that earlier on, but halfway marker, which is lap 75, there's a competition yellow. If a caution were to fly within the laps of 55 to 75, that will count as the caution, or as the competition caution. So there's something to keep in mind as we get into the later stages of this race.
Yeah, one guy that's really playing the tire conservative game is Justin Elvis. He is 5 seconds back from the pack, but you know, he's definitely playing for the long run here. You don't always have to be battling for the first position or any position for that matter when it comes to these 150 lap races like this.
Yeah, not quite sure if he got in any trouble there, but he's definitely quite a ways back from race leader Brian Voss as they're starting to battle behind him. Justin Coleman sneaks to the inside of Matt Cox. He grabbed the inside curb that you were talking about earlier on. It doesn't seem that it killed his run too much just yet. We'll see what he's got going on the back straightaway. These cars are going to be really close when they're racing side by side just because of the amount of horsepower that these cars have off of the corner.
Yeah, these cars definitely, they can sit side by side at any track no matter what it is for a long time if you have the right drivers. And obviously with this all-star racing league, there are very talented drivers in here. to put on a good show, and these guys are definitely doing it right now.
Yeah, Cox is staying up top. He's got to have to watch how long he's up there. Being up on that outside line can start to degrade your tires, but it looks like he's going to be able to slip back down in front of Daniel Sweat, but nonetheless give the second spot to the 114 of Justin Coleman.
Yeah, as we file back in here, 37 laps in. Not a lot of action so far, but definitely will heat up here as the race comes to an end.
Yeah, Brian Voss getting a pretty good lead in the 55. I'm looking at the lap times. He's about a tenth quicker than your second place driver, Justin Coleman, but obviously this gap is not going to matter considering we have that competition yellow, and Brian Voss probably knows that and understands the gap that he has right now, so not pushing it too hard. But nonetheless, good pace from the 55 so far.
Yeah, Brian's definitely taken away with this one, but like you said, Winston, it's definitely conservative game, and you just got to think of that that competition caution at lap 75.
And we have been green from the get-go here on lap 41, so Brian Voss thinking about that, maybe kind of conserving a little bit more than maybe the others behind him right now, trying to get an earlier head start on the later part of the race. If he can come down pit road later, maybe after that competition caution, given we get another caution, if he can come down later, he's going to be able to have fresher tires at the end of the race, which could allow him to have a little bit more passing room. It's tough to pass in these cars, so you're going to need that tire there at the end. And there's a little bit of contact out back. I think Chris Smith might have been playing bumper tag with Mark Stewart right there. It's at the back half of the top five.
These guys have been going at it for the past 5 laps here. Christopher Smith, not sure if he just wants to get around him or he's just, trying to get him out of the way, but definitely these guys are going back and forth. As you see, Chris Stewart get under him there, and
looked like Stewart might have just let him by. You see Matt Cox right there in the 51 moving up as well. Daniel Sweat getting to the inside. So a little bit more leapfrogging going on here in the top 5. Matt Cox stuck up top again. We're approaching the lap 50 mark, which puts us about 25 away from the competition caution. Remember, if a caution falls before lap 75, past the lap 55 mark, it will count as the competition caution. But with what we've been seeing so far, not looking like we're going to get that caution unless these guys start to heat up the action a little bit.
Yeah, we are back. I had little mechanical difficulties, but as you can see, these guys are getting bunched up here. Chris Smith definitely on the move. Matt Cox almost getting the worst of it there, almost getting sandwiched by the 80 car and the 07 car of Daniel Sweat and Chris Smith. As you see Chris get under the 51 car of Matt Cox. Matt Cox definitely not going to try and keep his position up there on the top, as it does kill those tires as he files back in to what I believe to be P5. Yes.
Yeah, Matt Cox back into his original starting spot of the 5th spot. Brian Voss has got a really commanding lead up to 2.8 seconds now over second place Justin Coleman. He's just continuing to put up a great pace, and you got to wonder, as we progress later into this race, the amount of green flag time that we're having, these guys behind him might want to think about playing a little bit different strategy game, maybe taking 2 tires versus 4. It might even be bold enough to say that you could take left side tires on this lap 75 caution and pray that you get another caution later to get rights, but we'll have to see as we're approaching that mark, lap 55 right here. 20 laps away from the competition caution. But the next flag will be the competition caution, as we are getting pretty spread out right here. It's 3 seconds back to Coleman, and then another second back to Daniel Sweat, and then it's another second back to Chris Smith and Matt Cox, who are now battling for the 4th spot.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but talk about Justin Elvis, man. He's sat back in 7th for a long time. He's definitely playing a conservative game. I mean, he's just consistent with his 15.5s, and he's definitely going to have a lot more tire than a lot of these guys. So you have to think, what strategy is he on, and why is it different from the other guys in the field?
Yeah, I'm not. Obviously he's got pace. He's running times pretty close to the leaders. I mean, faster than some of the cars in the top 5. So he's got the pace, but not quite sure why he's hanging back. There could have been trouble at the start, but Brian Voss behind him does have just a little bit more pace. So Justin Elvis at risk of going a lap down here before that competition caution.
Yeah, I think might have missed it. But as you see, the field definitely spreading out here, not much action. But Chris Smith looks to be falling off just a little bit in the 8-0 car, which behind him would be Mike Stewart.
Matt Cox in the 51 ended up getting back around to the 80 of Chris Smith while we weren't looking. So not sure if Smith is maybe burn up those tires a little bit, or is just not ready to fight. The 51 was ready to move forward, but about 10 laps away from the competition caution. Voss's lead is now up to 4 seconds. He's just running much faster than the cars behind him. I mean, he's got 3/10 on the entire field that last time around. So Voss obviously doing a great job of preparing for the week. He's looking really strong here early on. We'll see if he can hang on to this one, but obviously an early favorite here as we approach the halfway mark.
Yeah, the 51 of Matt Cox getting a little loose on entry. Definitely looks like he's struggling a little bit with, and with these cars, they do get looser on the long run if you are familiar with them, and if not, these cars definitely get loose on the long run, and if they don't, I'm not sure what setup you got, but as Chris Smith starts to work on the 51 car of Matt Cox in the P4 position. Matt kind of running a high line from what it looks like, unless his car is just tight, but Chris Smith coming to his back bumper here as Chris Smith gets a little tight in the backstretch, washing up a little bit, but as he does diamond it off the corner, trying to get that big run on the P4 position.
Yeah, Cox doing a really good job defending the 80s, just kind of going wherever he goes. Is Mark Stewart in the 8 machine some kind of trouble? Not quite sure what's wrong, but Justin Elvis actually just ended up getting around him for that 6th spot, but Stewart at risk now of going a lap down. Not quite sure if there was some kind of trouble. Maybe he got off somewhere. Not quite sure what the issue is. It looks like his tires might be going away, as he is very, very slow in the center of the corner. Obviously something wrong with the 8 machine. So we are just 4 laps away from the competition caution. He will get the lucky dog given Justin Elvis stays on the lead lap, but he's got a good gap to race leader Brian Voss.
Yeah, and Chris Smith does get around the number 51 car of Matt Cox for the P4 position. Matt, these cars are definitely falling off here. We started at 15s, low 14 or high 14s, low 15s, and these cars are now running 16s, high 15s. So you can definitely see the tires playing a factor here at lap 73. Sorry.
Yeah, we're a lap away from the competition caution. Mark Stewart ended up going a lap down on that first green flag run. Luckily, he's going to be able to get the lucky dog as Justin Elvis, you see, in the 4 car right in front of race leader, but the competition caution will fly once everyone has came around to get or to complete lap 75. So when the 4 machine of Justin Elvis comes around to the stripe right here, we will see the yellow flag. So there it is. You see the 55 of Brian Voss slowing. He knows it's a caution. There is the caution, and Brian Voss is going to be the leader at that first halfway segment. We're going to grab a word from him, but he's got phenomenal pace, Connor. It's going to be hard to beat him in this second half. What do you think?
It really is. I mean, he's just been a rocket this whole race, and you know his qualifying definitely showed. Especially, you know, being late and only having 2 laps. You know, no laps in practice, only the laps in qualifying, and he's really showing his full potential and talent here in this race at Oxford.
Yeah, as the field's going to come down and get pit stops, we'll see. I'm really interested to see what kind of tire strategies we're going to see right here. As these guys do have, you know, obviously can take 4 sets, or four tires if they choose. So Brian Voss into the box.
Out of all the guys going down pit road, looks like Mark Stewart was definitely not one of them. I don't know if he's staying out or just missed his pit entry, but he was one who stayed out.
Oh my goodness, Justin Coleman got 2 tires. He took rights only. He's going to get the race lead. Voss is going to get out behind him. Stewart's going to get his lap back in the 8 machine, then come down pit road.
Okay.
So Mark Stewart getting the lucky dog, going to get back on the lead lap. But the story right here, Justin Coleman going to take the race lead in the 114. He got 2 tires. I don't know if it's going to work. There's 75 laps left. He's going to need more cautions later in the race, I think. I think if this race goes green like it did that first segment, Brian Voss in the 55, or, you know, maybe even somebody else on 4 tires might be able to, you know, get around him later. But right now, he does have the race lead.
Yeah, as like I said before, Justin Elvis coming up all the way to P2.
Yeah, not quite sure what that's about. I think he might have gotten trapped behind the pace car. Yeah, he's going around right there, but I think he might have gotten trapped behind the pace car during that pit cycle, but it looks like everybody's good. Everybody able to come down pit road, get fresh tires. Only 2 for Justin Coleman, I believe. Everybody else took 4.
Definitely curious to see how this plays out for Justin Coleman. You know, these cars are definitely faster, I want to say, on 2 tires, but, you know, 4 is definitely the more conservative play. But I'm curious to see how, you know, these pit strategies play out, especially because a lot of these guys are running on different pit strategies from what it looked like.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but Coleman nonetheless bold strategy here with it's halfway. I don't know if these guys have another set in the pits or not, but regardless, it's going to be interesting. You know, I'm thinking Justin Coleman's going to need cautions at some point, and not just one, but we're going to have to see as the lights are off the Bad Company Racing pace car, and we're going to head through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone and head back to the green. Justin Coleman got a great jump there heading through turns 1 and 2. Brian Voss is going to tuck in behind him, not ready to fight it just yet. Daniel Sweat into the 3rd spot. They're out wide behind him. Justin Elvis, good save off of turn 4 right there. He grabbed the inside curb and got all kinds of sideways. Was able to hang on, but he's going to be back behind again in the 7th spot. So we'll see if he's able to recover. It's not going to be as easy this time around. You know, obviously no more competition yellows, but I'm sure things are going to heat up here as we get later into this one. They're going to be 85 down at the line this time. Justin Coleman's your race leader. Connor, what do you got?
Honestly, you know, this second segment of this race is definitely going to get slicey and dicey here. A lot of these guys are definitely impatient to get to the lead, knowing that there's not another competition caution, so there's not really much saving or pit strategy going into it. You know, these guys single filed out here. Mark Stewart backing up to that 6th position, as Justin Elvis also in the 7th position. maybe also still playing the tire conservative game, not sure what his you know, strategy is, but as you guys can probably see on the broadcast, Brian Voss looking to the lead on the 114 of Justin Coleman. These guys are definitely really tight in times here. As Justin Coleman does go a 15.1, but Brian definitely a little bit faster, running a 15.086 on that last lap. Definitely curious to see how these guys, you know, battle it out here as we are 90 laps in.
Yeah, if you're Coleman, you have to fight this. You know, the guy behind you has 4 tires. He led the whole first half of the race. If you're Justin Coleman, you got to fight this and you got to keep this lead because you have to have some kind of advantage at the end of the race. Obviously, Brian Voss had great pace there in the beginning, and I think he's the favorite right here. But if you're Justin Coleman, you have to play really defensive and try and get a little bit more wear in his tires and a little bit more heat with him trying to get around you. You know, you gotta make him play a little bit more of his cards than he's wanting to.
Yeah, as you guys saw, Brian Voss giving Mark Stewart a little love tap. Or no, I'm sorry, that was Justin Coleman. As Brian kind of looking to the inside here in 1 and 2, as Justin washes up a little bit in the 114 car. Looks like Brian's going to try on the inside, but, you know, Justin Coleman just playing a really defensive line here. These guys were really battling it out for this P1 position.
Ooh, contact. They're both
Contact.
around. Caution is going to be out. Wow. You know, we were
I hate
talking.
to say it, Winston, but it was bound to happen.
Yeah, we were talking about it heating up, and you know, Brian Voss just kept looking a little bit more and a little bit more, and eventually got into the back bumper right there, as we saw. We'll take another look at it. As we'll see if we can get another look right here. Oh, look at that. My hotkeys once again aren't gonna let me show this replay. But regardless, you guys saw that contact right there. Coleman getting a tap right there. Both those drivers gonna go to the back. They both ended up coming down pit road. I'm sure maybe grabbed another set of tires. But under yellow for the second time here tonight. First actual on-track incident. 97 laps in, so these drivers doing a good job of keeping it clean.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think.
All right, you're good, Connor. Connor was talking the whole time. Connor like filled in when I stopped talking. And I forgot to say that he was muted, and he was just kind of going off, and you guys couldn't hear him. So I do apologize, but Connor's back. Lights are off on the Bad Company Racing pace car.
As the field bunches up here, going green. As the 07 of Daniel Sweat does get a good jump on the 80 of Christopher Smith. As a little contact with Mark Stewart and Matt Cox in the 51 machine. A little more contact, just a little bumping.
These guys starting to get a little bit more aggressive here in the later stages of this one. You know, obviously we knew it would happen, but here it is. Matt Cox looking to the inside of Mark Stewart in the 8 machine. This is for the 3rd position. Up in front of him, you see Chris Smith taking a peek to the back bumper. Daniel Sweat. Action all kinds all over the racetrack. We almost see 3 wide behind him. Justin Elvis racing with his teammate Justin Coleman.
Yeah, and I mean, as Brian Voss and Justin Coleman make a move here, these guys are definitely hungry for the number 1 position, and won't be easy to get there with 4 cars in front of them as Brian Voss sits P5.
Mark Stewart and Matt Cox putting up a good battle for that 3rd spot. Stewart went in really wide in turns 3 and 4 to try and kind of undercut Matt Cox, but he wasn't able to pull it off, and he's going to be back behind him now. He's got the pole sitter in the leader up to the halfway point of this one, Brian Voss, right behind him. We'll see if Voss is able to get around and keep up his early pace.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking in Brian Voss's head, you just got to think, you know, like, what can he do differently this time around as you see Mark Stewart hit the curb there? Like I talked about earlier in this race, that curb plays a big factor when it comes to, you know, the line on the bottom side. It definitely will upset the car. But, you know, maybe that's his line. As you see Brian Voss almost trying to get under the 8 car of Mark Stewart. Or not Mark, yeah. Stewart doing a really well on that bottom side, holding off the pole sitter, like Winston said, of the 55 car, Brian Voss.
Yeah, the field kind of bunching up here as we get later into this one. Daniel Sweat in the 07, and don't think he quite has the pace of the 80 car of Chris Smith, and that's kind of bringing Matt Cox and Mark Stewart just a little bit closer, and they're all kind of grouping together. So this should be pretty exciting as Brian Voss looks to the inside of Mark Stewart for the 4th spot. Contact between the two off of turns 1 and 2. Stewart holding them really tight on the bottom side. The 55 going to get him to scoot up just a little bit, get a little bit more room down there. He's going to sneak ahead and take the position out of turns 1 and 2. Stewart's going to try and undercut it, but not going to work.
Would like to point out Daniel Sweat does have left front damage on that 07 car, but doing really well, not having it affect his performance sitting P1 right now as Christopher Smith, you know, battles it out with him down on the bottom lane there.
Yeah, he thought about taking a peek to the inside right there, and he backed out, but Daniel Sweat gave him the room. If Chris Smith could have maybe gassed it up right there on the entry, he could have maybe gotten to the inside, but still being patient. Obviously 35 to go at the line.
Yeah, your field currently sits Daniel Sweat P1, Christopher Smith, you know, sitting in that 2nd spot, Matt Cox 3rd, Brian Voss and Mark Stewart battling it out for that 4th position, as Mark Stewart still sits in 5th, Justin Coleman in the 6th position, and then to round up your field, Justin Elvis in that 4 car. Definitely these guys, you know, the top 5 definitely bunching up here. You guys will probably see some battling here in the next 20 to 15 laps. Tempers might get a little hairy. As you see Matt Cox looking on the inside of Chris Smith.
Yeah,
that
they're
51
all...
cars.
You go.
The 51 car of Matt Cox definitely driving that car really aggressive, as you see Chris Smith getting in the inside of Daniel Sweat, but Daniel Sweat gonna get down to sit in that P2 position.
Yeah, he ducked to the bottom quick as they made their way through turns 1 and 2. Matt Cox gets tagged into turns 3 and 4. Contact there. The 51 looked like, I think Mark Stewart might have gotten into his left rear quarter panel going into that corner. We'll take a real quick look at it. See if we can't figure out what happened. I'm just doing it like this. I'm just going to rewind it the old-fashioned way because my hotkeys aren't set up and, they deserve to see what happened. So, here we go. I'm going to rewind it. Sorry, it doesn't look professional, guys. I do apologize. Yeah, Mark Stewart just got on the back bumper right there of Matt Cox and sent them both up the racetrack spinning. Looks like minimal damage, but both drivers able to continue on and keep going. We will return here in one moment. I'm going to get my hotkey set up really quick to make sure I don't have any issues with the replays, but we'll return with Green Flag Racing here on the WD Broadcasting Network. All right, guys, we're back here on the WD Broadcasting Network. Back behind the Bad Company Racing pace car, getting ready to go back. Green Flag Racing through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone, and we're back. And we're underway, and it turns 1 and 2. Chris Smith gets a good start and leads down the back straightaway. Here comes Brian Voss, though, underneath Daniel Sweat, going to take the second spot out of turns 3 and 4. 25 to go at the line. Chris Smith is your leader. Brian Voss second. Daniel Sweat third into turns 1 and 2.
Like I said earlier in this race, Justin Elvis on that. Oh, contact as Justin Elvis goes around in turns 3 and 4. Contact with, I do believe, was his teammate of Justin Coleman.
Yeah, looks like the caution not going to come out. He was not necessarily near anybody and able to get back going. The field's going to continue green. Heartbreak for Justin Elvis there. Looked like things were maybe finally starting to go in the right direction, but going to have 11 seconds to make up here inside 23 to go. He's going to need a caution.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think for Justin Elvis, he was really hoping for a caution there after, that contact with his teammate Justin Coleman. As Justin keeps it straight as he sits in the P4 position. But as for your leaders, Chris Smith sitting in your P1 position with Brian breathing down his neck. These guys have definitely been going at it for somewhat of a long time, as Daniel Sweat sitting in that P3 position. But I mean, you got to think of the tires. Are these, that two tire strategy, which I do believe was just Justin Coleman who did that, and he's sitting comfortably in P4. But if he wants to go anywhere, he's definitely gonna have to hit the gas.
Yeah, Brian Voss really close on that back bumper. These guys got a little bit of a gap back to Daniel Sweat in the third spot. I'm interested to see if Brian Voss has any tire left. He's, had to put a little bit more wear on him this second half of the race, and it might have affected the handling, but he's creeping up towards that back bumper. Lap time's pretty similar between the two. We'll check that last time. Looks like Smith just a little bit quicker in the 80 machine. So Voss gonna work back behind him. We're going to see 16 to go at the line right here. Justin Elvis, you see up in front of him. Sure, not going to be too much of a threat to the race leaders. Really good competition here in the in the All-Star Racing League. These guys, a lot of respect for each other. So lap car
Yeah, I
should
mean-
not be an issue with 15 to go.
You got to think, how is Brian going to get around the 80 car? As I say that, you see Brian getting the inside of the 80 car of Chris Smith. These guys side by side. Chris Smith trying to do the best he can, hanging on the outside as Brian takes the number 1 position. Gets a little loose coming off the turns 1 and 2. But as expected, Brian Voss goes into the number 1 position.
Yeah, Voss got a little bit loose, and it actually kind of helped him because Chris Smith kind of got out of the throttle as well, trying to make the undercut work. But, oh, Voss gets the curb right there. That might open up the bottom for Chris Smith off of turn number 4. We'll see. Oh, but it looks like Voss is going to close off that bottom lane. They're battling back behind him. Justin Coleman trying to make things happen late in the going. Underneath Daniel Sweat for the 3rd spot. Looks like he's going to creep ahead. We'll see at the line. Looks like give it to Justin Coleman by a couple of inches right there.
These guys getting slicey and dicey here for P3. Mark Stewart sitting behind him trying to see what lane to go to. Looks like he's starting to think of, maybe splitting it 3 wide for that P3 position, as the race starts to die down and we got 8 to go. These guys are definitely going to want to, get going. But Justin Elvis in that 4 car not having the night he most likely wanted, as he's looking to go a lap down by Brian Voss.
Yeah, Elvis trying to stay on the lead lap here inside of 8 to go, maybe in case we see a caution. I do believe he is the lucky dog, though, so in case we do get a caution, he would get the lucky dog. Things not quite over yet, though. Chris Smith putting together some good laps here at the end, matching pace with your race leader a little bit quicker that last time around.
I mean, Chris Smith's doing everything he can in that, 80 car, and he's just putting all he can into these tires and these cars. But nothing but domination, it felt like, in that Brian Voss machine. These guys just, he was just out front most of the race, other than that little incident. But as you can see, he takes back control in that P1 position as we look at 5 to go, 4 to go at the line.
Yeah, 4 laps to go for your race leader, Brian Voss. And as I pull up the schedule for this season, this will be Brian Voss's 2nd win. Voss picking up the win back at the Martinsville Speedway November 7th. So it's been a while, but Voss looking to return to victory lane here. He's going to have 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks will be up in the air this time around.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, nothing but domination from the kid. I mean, he's just very talented when it comes to these late model stock machines, and as you see, he pulls away by about half a second as the white flag is out.
Yeah, the white flag is out. 1 more lap to go in the Oxford 150, presented to you by Chestnut Hill. Brian Voss going to make his way into turns 3 and 4 for a final time. He's going to see the checkered flag waving. He will cross the line and pick up his 2nd win of the season. Chris Smith going to come home in the 2nd spot right behind him in the 80 machine. And then in the 3rd spot, it is the 114 of Justin Coleman. So we'll grab a word from our top 3 competitors in just a moment before we wrap things up here at the Oxford Plains Speedway. We will return in just 1 second here on the WD Broadcasting Network. Alrighty, folks, we are back here on the WD Broadcasting Network, getting ready to wrap things up. We're going to grab a word from our top 3 competitors, starting with our 3rd place finisher, Justin Coleman. We'll see if we can get a copy from him. Justin, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up?
Alrighty, well, an interesting race for you. The 2-tire strategy there at halfway kind of blew my mind a little bit. I didn't, I talked about it earlier on, the possibility of it, but I didn't know if anybody was going to follow through with it, and you did. It looked like it was working out in your favor. You had the race lead. Unfortunately, a little bit of contact there with your race winner, Brian Voss, but, still recovered to a 3rd place finish.
Yeah. Once we got settled in, I just kind of rode. I had a pretty good gap on 3rd place, so I was just conserving tires and stuff. So I gambled on it, and I mean, my left sides were still 86%, so I knew I was good there. But yeah, unfortunately, we had a little contact, but that's racing. It's a tight track and nowhere to really go but the bottom, so it is what it is. No harm, no foul. Still pretty happy with the 3rd place finish. First time racing here, so I'll take it.
First time racing here is pretty crazy, but obviously a good showing. Had some speed. You were figuring it out there at the end, obviously. But 3rd place, anybody that you have to thank that helped put you on the podium?
Yes, sir. Thank you again for coming on and broadcasting. Your broadcasts were good. Thank my team, Elvis Coleman Racing. Unfortunately, Brandon couldn't be here, but he's in Florida, so it's not really unfortunate for him. But thank all my sponsors, Chestnut Hill, the restaurant, Shock Eye Performance, Coleman Designs, Gibbs Brothers Construction, BH Homes Construction, and Parker Brothers Window Tinting, and Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication, and everybody at All Star.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you on your 3rd place finish here tonight. We wish you luck in the final race of the season next week.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Alrighty. That was your 3rd place finisher, Justin Coleman. We're going to grab a word from our 2nd place finisher now, Chris Smith. Connor, let you take it away.
Chris Smith, how was your race? Starting up from, not from the pole and stuff like that. Not from the poles, whatever, dude. I'm not used to this stuff. I'm kind of new to this, but
Starting from the 2nd spot.
Yeah, 2nd so was the pole. Okay, my apologies. After leading after the competition caution, what was your thoughts after seeing Brian Voss in that 2nd place position? Do you have any thoughts going through your head or anything like that?
Just the outside, man. It's really tough on here. If you're on the outside, you're basically gonna get freight trains. So just have to get down when you can. Brian Voss was on a whole nother level tonight. There's nobody that's catching him. Car felt good. Just, yeah, I'm surprised I got P2, honestly.
Yeah, do you feel as though you could have done anything differently in this race?
I doubt it. I mean, it's just one of those tracks. I'm not very good here. Just really try to keep the bottom if you can.
Yeah, I mean, anybody you'd like to thank? Sponsors, family, friends?
I'd like to thank Bad Company Racing, Brandon Elvis, him, Rob, Coleman, Dalton, everything they do for this league, man. It's been a blast. Thank y'all for broadcasting.
Yeah, and Winston, you take it away here. Congrats on your P2 finish. Definitely put on a show for us here in the booth.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, congrats, Chris, on your finish. I wish you luck next week at Wilkesboro.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, folks. 2nd place finisher, Chris Smith. And now a word from our winner here tonight. We've talked to Brian Voss 3 different times. Brian back up in the booth for a 3rd time here tonight to finish it off. Well, you completed the sweep. You went on the pole. You won, or I guess you were the leader at the halfway mark, and you capped it off by a victory. Pretty dominant display here tonight. Obviously, your race went good, but tell me how your race went.
Yeah, there at the beginning, like I told you earlier, I didn't have very many laps around the joint, so I wanted to kind of see what the balance was doing. It felt like it was kind of neutral. Definitely started getting on the free side, and I knew I was going to take rights, so I wanted to see as they were taking rights what the MLS were showing. So I went ahead and just changed all 4. Got mired back in track position just a little bit. Got back up to Coleman there, and we were just racing hard. I think I barely just got on the apron a little bit. And he was coming down the track, but it was all on me. I should have just waited a little bit longer in the run, utilized my lefts when he had them old ones. So it was a coordinating effect where sweat got into me. But I hate getting into Coleman like that. Then I think he took lefts and it made him too tight. But luckily for us, sounded a little bit shelfish here, but it was good to get back through the field and get the win.
Yeah, your second victory of the season. Right now, you're fourth into the standings coming into tonight. You're having a good battle with Chris Smith in the 80 machine. What do you think you can do going into that final race at North Wilkesboro?
Hopefully qualifying has been our strong suit, so just get track position and similar to tonight, try to maintain. Hopefully we don't have the competition caution. I think that maybe their contact wouldn't happen later on, which I feel terrible about again. I think we could have maintained the lead there and just kind of used the strategy and pit for fuel accordingly when we needed to.
Yeah. Should be a pretty good final race of the season. Wilkesboro is one of my favorite tracks. I love broadcasting there. It's always a fun show no matter what car it is, what track, or what car it is, what series, who's running. It's always a fun show. I'm sure it will be next week as well. But before we wrap it up, is there anybody that you would like to thank that helped put you in victory lane here tonight?
Man, I sound like a broken record every week thanking you guys for doing the broadcast, but you guys do an amazing job. We appreciate everything. It's always nice to go back and watch it, whether it's the night of or later in the week when you ain't got much going on. It's professionally done, so we appreciate it. Also got to thank Brandon, Justin, Dalton for putting this All-Star Racing League on. Rob, who doesn't race with us as much as I would like him to, but hopefully he'll be back next week. It's a good bunch of guys. Enjoy racing with them. And then I've been leaving out my old sponsors that I used to have when I really raced, so I guess I could shout out to them tonight. Rain Total Body Fuel, Butler Roof, Strand Termite and Pest, BBF Farms and Paving, Dawson Lumber Company, and Fueled on Miller Lights. I got to thank them. And then always B-Dubs. We got the whiteout version tonight, so beer money for the crew.
Yeah, I saw the whiteout version. Looks pretty good, and obviously put it to good use, putting you in victory lane. Congratulations on the victory here tonight.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Alrighty, guys, that's gonna do it here tonight for the WD Broadcasting Network coverage of the All-Star Racing League at the Oxford Plains Speedway. We thank everybody for tuning in, and I'm glad that it was a good race there at the end. Battle within the last 10 laps is always exciting to watch. Connor, I'd like to thank you for joining.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here. It's definitely a blast.
Yeah, a little bit rusty, both of us on the mic. I was also in the process of trying to figure everything out with my stream. I kind of reworked it, as you guys might have noticed, and I was trying to get things finalized. I decided to switch it up last minute because if you haven't heard, I am streaming on Twitch as well. I'm streaming on YouTube and Facebook here tonight. Facebook and YouTube are going to be primarily iRacing content, and then if you want to see me play other games, Fortnite, Call of the Wild, maybe some CSGO in the future, that's going to be on my Twitch. So if you're interested in gaming, Twitch, iRacing, Facebook, and YouTube. But I would definitely recommend checking out both and keeping up with me on my Instagram page, as that's my most active social media. So thank you guys for watching, and tune in next week for the final race of the Barry Elvis in Performance Fabrication Late Model Series at North Wilkesboro.